that we work with and we introduced them back into the culture of Japan's baseball. So that's pretty much what I do right now.
Absolutely. Sure. Thanks, Carlos. Tom, it's up to you now. Like, I want you to just give a small introduction about yourself.
Yeah, hey everyone. Thanks for the time. Pleasure to be on. And yeah, I'm a recent founder of a company called Basis, and we help baseball organizations from startups to tech startups to baseball facilities operate and implement their CRM, customer relationship management strategy and implementation. Fairly new company, but met Vamsey kind of through my network on LinkedIn, and this kind of led to this discussion as well. And Basis is only about 3 months old. But we're starting to get some traction in the baseball community as we grow our team and our client base, and excited for this conversation and also the future of Basis.
Thanks, Tom. So, like, for a small information, Tom is the youngest panel members for us. He's 23 years old and has got a good experience in CRM. And now, sir, Mr. Upendranath Chellu sir, sir, before you starting, before you introducing yourself, I want to just give a small brief about Chellu sir. So he's one of the very senior most persons in the baseball fraternity from India, and his having a vast experience about the baseball. So he's the person who's going to share a lot of insights for us today about Baseball India. Sir, Chellu sir, please, can you just give a brief about yourself? Chellu sir? Okay, I think he's not online yet. Okay, I don't know. I'm just checking with him. Okay, I'll get on board Venkat.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Sir,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Wonderful. Sir, I would request you to give a small brief about yourself.
Hello to everybody. It's a great pleasure to be in such august company. I have no pretensions about any knowledge of baseball.
Is it?
I am still a student. I keep learning. Even in at my age, I keep learning about new things. Essentially, I got involved with baseball around about 25 years back. We floated a small organization to promote baseball in one of the backward areas, underdeveloped areas in India. And we are still surviving. We have produced a large number of players. My focus has really been on the younger players, not the older players, because that was my belief that we have to create a pool which will, in due course, some will fall by the wayside and go on to other things, but we will still have a small pool left to take the game forward. I'm looking forward to hearing from Carlos and Tom. They have a huge amount of, especially Carlos, and running, having played in a league, in a professional league, and then mentoring players. And similarly, Tom is looking at, basically, I think it is a sort of a venture fund for, or investment fund for state startups in sports. So I'm looking forward keenly to hearing what they have to say on how to take things forward. We're still in a learning process. And it's great today to put faces onto voices I've been speaking to. Because Karthik and Vamsi, we have only spoken to each other. And
absolutely, sir. Yes.
Okay, let me again. By profession, I've been a corporate and investment banker. I spent almost 45, 46 years in that trade. And interest for Tom, I also run a software company. We specialize in CRM. Basically, the basic platform is, of course, Microsoft Dynamics CRM. but we have a platform built around that. And we work with a number of companies in the US only, US and Europe. So that's a side which my main focus has been on administrating and running baseball. I've been passionate about sports as such. I have played a number of sports as an amateur as well as a semi-professional, with no great pretensions to having achieved any great pinnacles. But I have a passion for sports in all its forms, be it baseball, hockey.
Yes. So
Ice
I
hockey.
had a,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir. I had
Yeah.
a small interaction with Chellu sir a few hours back, and I was seriously like amazed to know the vast experience he got. And like he said, he's still learning, but I'm pretty sure, sir, we have to learn a lot of things from you, because the interaction what I had with you for the 5 minutes itself has given me a different perspective about how to go forward in life. Sir, don't mind, I will go forward with
Yeah, please.
and so I'll like okay, our other guest, Mr. Venkat. So Venkat, over to you. So I want you to just give a small brief about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hi, hello all. My name is Venkat Tanegundala, and I'm a co-founder of Dream Olympic Sports Private Limited. I met Vamshi Krishna Konreddy, the founder of this one, while working with HSBC, and at that time he was with Nomura actually. We had this vision of creating this sports company. We always wanted to create an ecosystem for the athletes, basically, and the idea of baseball has come up because as a country we love bat and ball sports always, and there is a huge talent in this country. So that's what the brief about me.
Okay, thanks, Venkat. So again, welcome. So there are few more members who joined us now. Thanks for everyone. Okay, so we're going to start now with few questions. Okay, the whole idea about why we are doing this and a webinar on, especially on a sport like baseball, is like if most of you guys, I don't know if you are aware, but in 1990s or so, in early mid 90s or so, baseball was one of the very big sport, and we had many teams who played nationally and internationally also. And I don't say there are big achievements, but there is a very close relationship between baseball and baseball with India, because we are a cricket playing nation. We are a cricket, it's a religion for us. And so baseball we can adapt to a sport like baseball very easily. But of course, I don't want to speak about why it didn't grow as it has to grow. But today we're going to talk about the landscape, about the baseball, a landscape of how it has been from past 10-15 years, and we'll just compare it with our closest nations like Asian countries, because Carlos has been playing, he had played many international matches there. And I like personally, we would like to listen from Carlos about his experiences and everything. And Tom, of course, on the baseball technology, and of course his own expertise, CRM. So there, how the technology can help a sport like baseball to grow. And of course, Chellu sir, I think his experiences will give us a different perspective about the baseball in India. So let's start. So I'll keep on like pushing the questions. So I request everyone again, don't jump with your questions. I want every one of you like to just maintain silence for some time. When there is a QA session, I want you guys to come up with your questions. So this is the whole thing. Okay, now let me start. So Chellu sir, this is a little I don't know, tricky question, I can say. How is the baseball ecosystem in India at this moment?
Okay. Baseball, the earliest we found any organized baseball being played in India
Yes, sir.
and at the national level was in about 1984, when an association was constituted to take care of promotion of baseball at a national level. Before that, the only occasion I had to see baseball in India was in the American International School in Delhi.
Mhm.
And a lot of us used to go there to watch baseball. We were young people to watch the girls and to eat food.
I know.
So since then, the number of organizations which are actively engaged in promoting baseball has risen nationally to about 26 associations. And we do conduct tournaments at various levels, seniors, both men and women, sub-juniors, juniors. So that way, a number of tournaments are conducted, but the standard of the game has really not progressed. We can analyze the reasons for that as we go. Suffice it to say that last I heard was in about 2017, I had news that somebody has established a baseball stadium in India.
Absolutely.
That was somewhere near in Delhi by Grand Slam, Grand Slam baseball or something like that. But
Sure,
I have not heard anything of it except
Sure.
for that one small news item.
Done.
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think that will be our future focus to
Yeah.
discuss more about the future of baseball in India and action plans, what we can come up with, sir. I think we have lots more to discuss actually.
Present, I think India ranks about 61 or 62 in the world rankings.
Sure,
which
sir.
is fairly low because the number of nations playing baseball is not all that large.
Absolutely.
Can't compare it with, let's say, soccer or even a game like field hockey, surprisingly.
Sure.
So,
Got it. Sure, sir. Okay, I think so. We as you said, like we are way below at this moment, and as an ecosystem, I think we are not yet ready on the baseball front. Okay, Carlos, it's up to you now. So, how is the ecosystem in Asia? And I would just want to see the comparison, how it has evolved as a sport in Asian countries, and I just wanted to understand, like even from Carlos and Chalus also later on, is where we are lacking, why the ecosystem didn't build in India. But I just wanted to understand from you, how is the ecosystem in Asia and how it has evolved from very long.
Well, baseball it's being played all over Asia. Now, obviously, the most popular Asian countries playing right now are Taiwan, Korea, and Japan. But it's being played everywhere. Perfect example is I'll call it the Player Association that I helped found in Japan. We've signed an agreement with the pony ball level in Japan and all of Asia. So once the international travel opens up, we've actually connected with all the Asian countries at the Little League level and the pony ball level to help instruct and do things like that. So baseball is being played everywhere. It's I would say in some of the countries like Taiwan, Japan, Korea, it's huge sports. Their international baseball teams are constantly playing in all the tournaments, leading up to the Olympics or World Baseball Classic. Japan baseball is pretty much the number one sport. Korea is pretty much the number one sport. Taiwan as well, even though they still support their Olympic teams, their soccer teams, or you might call them football. But it's from the youth level, so all the kids are playing it as well as other sports, but they're playing it from the time that they're very young, so that they can grow up and play at like I said, the Little League level, the pony ball level. Then they have the high school level. Then they have the college levels. But it's what makes baseball exciting is what keeps it going. So the professional level leads the way to show the youth how it can be fun, how it can be played. When I was in Taiwan and Japan as well, we constantly were out in the community, showing our home fans and our home, people that, we're your team. We do community events, we engage with the community so that they come support, the team. And in Japan, Japan getting towards some important games in the playoffs, look at 40 plus thousand people in some of the stadiums, especially in the playoffs.
Good to
So
know,
yeah, during the season it's a little less, but during the playoffs it'll get up there to about the 40,000.
Awesome.
But it's constantly in the media. It's constantly on all the media outlets, social media, television, and things like that. So how they're constantly marketing the game. So when they target the youth um, and it's like a constant growth. So
Sure.
and they use the professionals as examples, because they were all kids when they played, so they all grew up, played the game. So that's kind of how it is, in Asian countries there, it's the number one sport.
Got it.
Um,
Got it. Yep.
so for India, it's is it going to be the number one sport? Obviously not right now. You have cricket, things like that. But in comparison, as you're building baseball, you don't want to deem it as the number one sport, or you don't want to deem it as something that's going to try to compare, with cricket or soccer or any other sports that might be popular over there. You got to build it from the ground up with people that are passionate about the game so that they can teach it to the youth, and then it opens up more opportunities.
Absolutely. So thanks. Yeah, sir, you want to add something here? Chalu, sir?
I was just tracing, like Carlos said about the development of baseball in Asia. When I analyzed it, I found in Asia, baseball progressed in all the countries which had US involvement in one form or the other. Yep. Either the US was occupying force, or they were using those countries as R&R facilities. Yes. So you'll find generally it's that. And all the countries who are out of the focus area of US in Asia, baseball didn't really catch on as a sport.
Yes, sir.
The other was the hangover of British colonialism, where cricket was looked as an elitist sport. Because if you go back to history, in India, amongst the Indians who played cricket, it was the nobility and the upper class only. It was not the, how can I put it? I won't put it as peasant stock, but say ordinary people did not play cricket. And the popularity of cricket only soared post 80s. You can't really think of cricket prior to the 80s. It was a very minor sport. But anyway, I take Carlos's point well that, that we can't project it as a number one sport today. But slowly but surely, we are working on it. And in due course, as we institutionalize certain aspects, I think we'll get to be as good as anybody else.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Tom, so now I just wanted to understand how the technology is playing that role of developing the sport like baseball, and what are your viewpoints of implementing the technology in the market like India?
Yeah, I think it's a great question because baseball, in comparison to American football, basketball, and soccer here in the state, it's probably the most analytical game in the front office, and it opens up a lot of opportunities for people who know R or SQL, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, or Python, to be able to get jobs in front offices here in the States. It's really progressed, and Carlos can really attest to this, the sabermetric side of the game. I'm a part of a organization called SABR, which is the Society for American Baseball Research, and it has thousands of members worldwide. There are plenty of related websites here in the States that are very numbers-based and analytical. analytically based. So I think the technology has really grown in the 2000s, especially after the 2010s as we entered the 2020s, where now players are becoming analytical too. Unfortunately, scouting departments here have really changed, and there's plenty of opinions on that here in the States, but there are companies like Rapsodo or Diamond Kinetics, Blast Motion Baseball, that have a major part with front offices. So technology in baseball, in comparison to basketball and football, has really skyrocketed as we go forward. I would love to hear Carlos' opinion on that, as someone who is a former professional player, is probably actually has seen it firsthand develop from when he first started playing to now what he's doing over with the association in Japan. So, and then also I'd ask, you guys over there, like, cricket's not that popular here in the States. Would you consider baseball same thing in India right now? Would you compare the two together in terms of popularity? On the same level, cricket's popularity, popularity in India. So again, I'll ask some questions there, but to get back to the tech side of it, I think it opens up a lot of opportunities for people in different nations that, I never played at a high level, but there are opportunities to get into a major league front office. In India's great tech history, I think that could be an attractive market for Major League Baseball front offices.
Absolutely. So, Chellu sir, I like, again, coming to you, the same question. So, I just wanted to understand your viewpoints on how is the technology going to help develop the sport in India? Because you being the technology background, so just a couple of insights from you.
Let's first get into very small fundamentals. It's equipment per se. We need to import all the equipment into India, and especially with the new guidelines mandating wooden bats and things like that, it's become a little problematic, because we still have to. We do not have domestic manufacture for bats.
Absolutely. Sir.
We have managed to grow people for gloves and balls. Balls, again, it's still evolving. But coming back to hardcore technology, which Tom was talking about, as yet, since we don't have a professional league, for purposes of analyzing player performance and tracking them, as yet the need has not been felt. It's there in cricket, surprisingly. Maybe it's very advanced in cricket, and yes, cricket uses a lot of technology while coaching, and while we can do the same thing with baseball also. We can iron out a lot of deficiencies and bad habits, if you want to call them, in the younger players by using technology, simulators, stuff like that, which initial cost is high but the recurring costs are comparatively low. We are still very backward in terms of
exactly. So there are points which are still unknown to us. So we need to explore them. Okay. So Carlos, this is a question because you being a player and a coach, this question is more focused for the players and the coaches. So in your view, what are the focus areas for a player or a coach to become a professional, a real big professional or a thorough professional? So what are the points they need to take into consideration, and how they have to build themselves, a player and a coach?
Well, the first thing you have to do for players and or as an organization is you have to try your hardest to bring in people that are passionate about the game, because I'll touch a little bit on the technology part as well. In America here today, baseball is not even the number one sport. Football, NFL football is the number one sport. And the reason for that is because there's so much Well, here in America, you have so many different sports. You got NBA, NFL. You got so many different things. In India, you don't have so many different sports. So as baseball, you got to bring some passion to it. You got to bring some fun, some excitement into the game, and then that's what helps to grow the players to want to be professionals, to want to continue to pursue the game of baseball, and then you have to have that balance with the technology part because players today are all in tune with those aspects and those measurables of the baseball game. So when you have players, if you have coaches that are excited about teaching the game, about wanting to learn the game, and show the true passion for the game, it's contagious. And then you'll have the youth levels that really
Fully.
learn
Yeah.
to want to play the
Yeah.
game. And even at the higher levels, when you have some of the college kids or some athletes that see this, that might try to transition from cricket, you're not promoting it as one or the other.
Yes.
You can still do both. So you got to promote it as, hey, this is also an option. And then what you'll start to see is some athletes come into the game, and it's so organic that from the very beginning, if you can teach it with passion and fun and excitement, it filters down. It filters down to the youth. So then it's a commitment of culture. So that's what you see in the Asian countries. It's more of a culture thing. It's more of a respect. They kind of incorporated their culture into it so that it's kind of a good mix so that the kids can have fun with it. And then even at the professional level, it's the same thing. Even here at the major league level, I understand it's a business. I understand a lot of money is being made off of it, but those guys still have fun out there. If you watch the games, the Major League Baseball just started today or this past couple of days, those guys still have fun and they're competitive. And it's filtering down. So the college kids, the high school kids, everybody kind of sees it, feeds off of it. So coaches are very, very important at this level to really grow the game. And it's also very, it's also a little for what you guys are trying to do, and we're all trying to do here. It's also, if you don't bring the right coaches in, it could also ruin the beginning of it. And it can also make it not so organic. So then they just kind of get discouraged. So you got to have leaders out there at the coaches level, and then know what they're doing, and keep it simple. And you want to keep it simple because when it's so young and everybody's not really familiar with the advancements of baseball, when you keep it simple and have fun, then you can grow it, and then it kind of filters out, and then you can kind of see what players or what athletes can really develop and who can really take it to the international level. And when you take it to the international level, then it starts to feed into the country because now you have something to stand behind, something that represents you in the baseball community. And like I said, with the technology today, Blast Motion, I know the people from Blast Motion, I know the people from all different technologies, and there are some simple programs out there that can track, monitor players, where you can input the developments of the players, the measurables, and you have it objective and subjective for the coaches to kind of see, so it can help the players grow, and you can track all the players from amateur level to professional level. So the technology really is there to help, and you got to have that balance to understand when to use it, when not to use it. The coaches have to be passionate because they're going to be the leaders at this level to bring it to a professional level, and then it filters down.
Absolutely. So my next question, of course, is for Tom on the same topic, what Carlos is speaking. So how is the technology like helping in doing this metrics of the players? What kind of an analysis is helping these players from the grassroots level, in the sense when they're starting their career? So the technology is very important for them to look into their performance and everything. So how is that helping these players?
Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking as from a fan perspective and someone who studies it a little bit more than the average fan, but I think it's opened a new wave of players to enter onto the major league field. There's a trendy stat, and it's just simple, called exit velocity, and it's how fast the ball comes off the bat, and that had a lot of, it was trending for a little bit. There's a bunch of different stats where, the old school stats projected players a certain way, and now these new school technologies have given in new insight to new sabermetrics or new advanced analytics to potentially give a player that might have been undervalued 20 years ago that is not undervalued in 2020. So I think it's opened up, and it starts at the grassroots level because now colleges are starting to implement a lot of these technologies as well. So you're able to actually not just have these numbers at a major league level or at the minor league level, but now you can go into college, potentially some high schools if they have some money in the program to buy these softwares and these systems. And you're actually seeing the progression from a 14-year-old all the way to hopefully when, he gets drafted and then to his first game as a major leaguer. So, like I said earlier, I mean, Carlos touched on it. American football is, baseball is our national pastime, but American football by far and away is our most popular sport. And then the National Basketball Association, again, is second. And then Major League Baseball, I don't want to call it a distant third from those two, but there is a little bit of separation. But what's cool about baseball, as I mentioned earlier, is the technology side compared to the other two. Granted, I can speak much more eloquently about baseball than I can basketball and American football on this topic, but it does open up with these new trends in baseball and with front offices becoming much more diverse in gender, nationality, in experience, whether you played or you didn't play. They really are expanding. Analytical front offices, you'll read anywhere from 20 employees up, where probably 20 years ago, you had one or two people in your analytical front office. So, I think the new age of baseball, if you call it, there's still a lot. Baseball is a very slow moving sport, not only in the action of the game, but how it progresses compared to football and basketball. And some would argue that's why. Some would argue that's why it's number 3 in the popularity behind those two other leagues. But beyond that, I think players now have really accepted these new stats, and these front offices are looking much more heavily at those stats, and ultimately it can decide how much money a player is going to get, and that is still a driving factor for a lot of players, as well as you can imagine. It's still a business at the end of the day. So
exactly. Sir, Chellu sir, so my question is about the grassroots. So how is the sport, present sport in the from the grassroots level? So this is like, where are we lacking, or where are we at this moment? And what are the points where we can actually focus on developing the sport in India?
Okay. Up to very recently, the school system did not have this as a sport at all.
Yep.
We have been driving to get it recognized, and we have met some success. I won't say it's phenomenal success. There has been some success in having some schools take up baseball per se. The difficulties are multifold. One is lack of people with knowledge of baseball, how to import, how do they impart instructions to baseball when they themselves are ignorant about baseball itself. Then the equipment itself, again, can be daunting. It's true that equipment in cricket also is expensive, but cricket is today looked as a employment choice.
Yes, sir.
If you're good in cricket and if you're okay in cricket, you can still make a living out of it.
Exactly,
as yet, baseball has not achieved that status.
Yes.
We have an Indian sport which has achieved this status in a short period of 4-5 years. That is Kabaddi, as you will be aware of, which was a sport only played by the rural people and which had no future. And today you have teams from all over the country, franchises from all over the country, including people from Africa, Korea, the US, I believe, Iran, I believe even from Japan, they're going to start coming in, and China, to participate in the Kabaddi League. Of course, they have made it more attractive by changing the rules and the format of the game. As Tom rightly said, baseball is a slow sport, but it is an ideal sport for television. There are many breaks, many gaps, which allow the commercial exploitation of. Only thing is, we still need to develop the franchises nationwide, build up teams, and of course, the thing which I was wanted to mention was lack of grounds.
Absolutely. I think
We don't have dedicated grounds for this.
Absolutely, sir. Carlos, so I just wanted to understand what kind of programs or what kind of activities are done in the grassroots level in Asian countries. So I don't want to go to US because in US it is there from very long. But I wanted to understand more on the Asian perspective because the sport is new in few areas in few countries there. So what kind of grassroots level programs they have been doing to develop the sport?
So let me speak on some of the things, kind of like how we have it going now with the Player Association. So what some of the things that we got involved in is at the youth level for Little League around Asia, the pony ball level, which is a little like in the low teens, like the 13, 14-year-olds. Even with this whole pandemic going on, you can't have international travel. We've been very active in still teaching over Zoom and things like that, where us at the former professionals and coaches and things like that, is we could still give instruction. Now, this past few months, unfortunately with the situation that's going on, we've still been able to take advantage of it because everybody's pretty much at home. And they've been around. So what we've been doing is baseball instruction over the internet, over Zoom, the social media outlets. The reach is really there now. For instance, we're talking right now over Zoom, and everybody is around the world, and you're in India, and we're able to reach and connect. Absolutely. And that's how the game has been growing in the Asian countries. I did videos on how I throw certain pitches to reach the youth so that once they were able to start getting out there to the baseball field, they're able to do stuff in practice. I've reached out and talked with even pitching coach in Taiwan, and we had conversations, and I've showed him some things, and he brought it to his team, and it's developing. So the reach today is just incredible as opposed to the past. And at the youth level in India, it's to me, I look at it as the opportunity is everybody's in a great position right now to really grow the game of baseball, but it has to be done with passion at the beginning, because and I'll give you an example, even though technology is still involved, which is very important, there has to be a balance. And that's what they're finding in Asia, is that balance where they can, still keep it fun, still keep it exciting, but at the same time, you can still monitor progression of players and the athletes and the coaches and things like that. So it's very exciting that India can bring baseball in. Is it going to happen overnight? Absolutely not. But with today's technology, you can really make a difference over anybody who has access to the internet, or anybody who has access to Zoom like this, where baseball instruction can happen to the youth and the masses. And when you have the companies behind it, equipment wise, I'm not worried about equipment wise getting it to India. When I was in Germany as a coach, I was a manager and a player. Just the fact that I was involved, I had different bat companies from Japan that saw my involvement, and they just sent me bats. They just said, hey, we want to supply you some baseball bats, because everything you do on the internet, everything you put on the internet or with your team, when they show the games streaming over Facebook or online, they want their logos to be shown. So even in today, that's where I say, when you got to bring in people, that are passionate, and some people that have the backgrounds, is corporate sponsors will come. You know,
Yes.
when you
Yes.
have the correct people. So for me, I've talked before about the Asian market, and when I spoke before, not here, but before in other private conversations, I said, don't focus on the United States. Don't focus on the
Exactly.
United States when it
Exactly.
comes to sponsors. Focus on Japan. Focus on Taiwan. Focus
Korea.
on Korea. Use their bat companies, their glove companies, you know, baseballs, whatever needs to be imported. But you have, you know, for instance, someone like me that has some connections in the Japanese market for all kinds of equipment to bring it in, because once you have this startup, no matter what it is, even if you have one field or two fields or anything, when you have the logos being shown over the internet, when you have it all at the very beginning, these sponsors will come, and that's how you bring in, you know, the investors and all of that kind of stuff, and then you just have to have the team. Everybody is a team that makes it grow. So then when
Exactly.
you're starting from the grassroots, whether it's at the professional level, at college level, or high school level, or even the kids, when you have the proper equipment with the logos being shown, you're establishing something here. You're establishing the history of it. Do you expect to try to grow it to the
Once
number
I
one
think
sport?
they see the revenue, I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
Can I just ask Carlos,
Yeah.
you know, a little this thing, a small thing is
Yes, sir.
on umpires.
Yes.
We have, you know, I've noticed, I've been when I'm watching the game and the teams playing, and I've found one of the great weaknesses is umpires.
Yeah.
The knowledge level, skill level of umpires. And then I'm astonished to find that there's no certification authority for umpires.
Okay.
Anybody,
yeah,
anybody gets up and he says, okay, he's the umpire today. And that can ruin many a game. I've seen many games being ruined, players getting disheartened because of serious foul-ups by the umpire. Maybe Tom can also pitch in on that.
Yeah, well, in the countries in Asia, like in Japan, Taiwan, Korea, at the high school, the youth level, those umpires do have to have schooling and get certifications to be umpires.
Is it?
At the
Okay.
Yes, so at the little league level, it's a little different. You know, when it comes to the kid level, it's a little different. But when you get to the high school levels, when you get to the college levels, when you get to the you know, amateur levels of, you know, like what they call the independent leagues or amateur levels, things like that. In the Asian countries, they do have schooling. Now, does it mean every umpire is going to be correct in their decisions? No, because it's a fast-paced game. You know, and when you're throwing baseballs and trying to hit certain areas, it's hard to really see, you know, what could be an out, what can be a ball. It's a fast-paced game, and it takes practice. It takes practice, and at the same time, you know, right now in India, when you're trying to create and establish a professional team or a professional league, you guys everybody here is an opportunity to actually create an organization for umpires to kind of get the correct learning, kind of get the correct teaching, whether it's using the Asian countries to, you know, train the umpires, or here in America or something like that. You know, baseball is it's a worldwide game. You know, it's universal. So everybody kind of works, you know, together on trying to get things done. You know, I've seen many times, even in Taiwan, when I first went to play in Taiwan, they were establishing a new league to compete with the current league. And they brought in a couple of umpires from the United States, and they hired them to be umpires and also train some of the Taiwanese umpires so that they can be better. And then the Taiwanese umpires would fly to the United States, go to the umpiring schools to try to learn. And that's all they needed was just a handful of umpires to take that back to Taiwan to train everybody else.
Absolutely.
And it's just like baseball. It's just like the players, the coaches, the umpires got to work at it too. And you know, in all sports, you know, players are always gonna, you know, contest what the umpires say when it comes to the rules and things
that happens
like
in
that.
cricket. That happens in cricket also. So we are
absolutely
used to it.
every sport, absolutely every sport. So what I do when I teach youth or college or even at the professional level, I'll constantly get guys, you know, from Japan, Korea, Taiwan, everybody sending me here in the United States, sending me videotapes. Look at this, do this, do this. And the first thing I always tell them is never leave it in umpires' hands. if you're a batter,
Yeah.
you don't want to let the ball go because you don't know what the umpire is going to say. Strike the ball. So you want to be. It's the mentality of how you play the game. You know, I'm from the United States. I have a Puerto Rican background. I've also played in Puerto Rico. There's a saying when it comes to Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, as hitters, you got to hit your way off the island. They're not. You can't walk your way off the island. So as at the youth level, those kids are taught swing and hit everything.
Absolutely.
So that's how they progress. So, you know, at the same time, you know, you're trying to develop the game of baseball from the players and coaches sides. You also an opportunity to develop it from the umpire side, from a perspective of an office to really control and develop everything. And once you get it going, I know this for a fact, is once you get it going, after a few years, Major League Baseball will step in if they see there's some worth to it.
Absolutely. See, the work comes when there are revenues also coming in, and there should be a support from the ecosystem. I think my next question, Chellu sir, will be like, what kind of an support India needs to build the sport? For the ecosystem, what kind of a support we would be needing? I'm pretty sure it's government, but apart from the government also.
I actually am not a great fan of getting government support.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have never been a great fan of getting government support because it means we are incapable of doing anything ourselves.
Absolutely.
So we're out with a bowl asking somebody to bail us out. No, I don't think that's if government comes and supports us as a ancillary to what we are doing, good. Otherwise, we need to be on our own feet.
Yes.
It is possible. I fully agree with Carlos. It is fully possible to get corporate support in India. Sponsorship is available. I have run a number of tournaments. I have run an association for 25 years. I can tell you, besides plugging in money from friends, etc., well-wishers, there has been a lot of corporate money which has come in. So it's not that it's not available, despite the fact that it's not that widely was not that widely publicized the sport. In fact, we started getting television coverage of the sport only in the last 5-6 years. Otherwise, it was not even covered by the TV channels. It was not considered relevant.
So as I think, I'm sorry, sir, disturbing you, but as Carlos mentioned, I think that culture has to be built.
No, let me finish. Let me finish.
Yes,
then okay.
Yes, sir.
Now again, we're going to take a parallel of cricket. Cricket was a game restricted to the British Empire. But cricket is spread all over the world because the coffers of the cricketing administration worldwide has decided to invest in countries, whether it's Africa, whether it's the US, whether it's Canada. They do spend a lot of money to popularize the sport in those countries also. It's an investment. At the end of the day, it's an investment. It's not a giveaway. So while we should be doing our bit and doing much more than what we have achieved so far, it may be also worthwhile for the major baseball leagues or major baseball organizations worldwide to also look at it that this is a huge market.
Absolutely.
See, in the end, it's not just bat and ball which is sold; it's also food.
Absolutely.
It's also entertainment. Baseball is entertainment.
Exactly. So even one question, because we are short of time. We are like 15 minutes, but I want to give the last 5 minutes to the QS session also.
Yes, sure.
But 10 minutes will take, and one biggest thing what I have seen in sports with my experience is creating opportunities, as Chellu sir mentioned, even Carlos mentioned, creating that opportunities not only for the players and other things, but surrounding to a sport. We need managers, we need physios, we need broadcast, we need marketing guys. So we need a lot of other people also. So where do you think, like I want to, like all the three panel members to answer this question. So where do you think we can create opportunities for the market like India? Because we are a population, a huge population of around 1.3 billion, and we are the youngest. India is the youngest country, in the sense like we have a huge population who are below 35, 40, below 40, and it means we can create immense opportunities in a sport like baseball, not only about coaching and playing, but around that. So I want all the three on what kind of an opportunities can be created on the tech side, on the on not only on the coaching and on the other side, and sir, you on the admin side and other things, sir. So Carlos, I want you to start.
Okay. Well, the one thing I will say is when it comes to bringing in investors and the corporate side is you got to give them something that they want to invest in. You know,
Yes.
you have to have the product for them to invest in. It's
Yes.
great to have all the technology. It's great to have all the business sense and things like that. But if you don't have a product that somebody doesn't want, they're not going to invest in it. They're going to go elsewhere. In today's world, the investments don't have to come from India. The investments can come elsewhere. You know, the reach today around the world it's unreal when it comes to the internet, the social media, the Zooms and things like that. So, you know, the Asian market is huge. And when you're talking about something that's going from organic, is you can bring in investors from around the world, but they got to be excited to want to invest. They got to be excited to want to develop the product. You know, Major League Baseball, you know, they just started an office in India, but they're focusing on the youth. They're not focusing on the higher levels because they want to build it from the ground up. Because right now they just feel like, you know what, that there might not be a market there. So you got to create the market. You got to create the interest. You got to create the excitement, and you got to bring in people from the baseball sense to do that. You know, whether it's other sports that have done it already, is you're growing it organically. So you have this opportunity to take this country from the beginning and turn it into a baseball country. It doesn't have to be an only baseball country, but you could turn it into a baseball country. So you don't have to, your reach can go beyond India and make it attractive. You got to make it attractive to the rest of the world. And that's why I always say you got to bring in people that are passionate about the game. Otherwise, it's just going to fizzle out. If you turn it into just a business model, it's going to fizzle out. So you have to have that balance where you can use the technology, you can have the business minds, you can create, you know, the opportunity for people to want to come to you to invest. You create the product and then you grow the product, and you can get the international reach so much easier today. And when you do that and things start to grow, then you're going to start to see the NPB, which is in Japan, want to do some kind of deals with you. Then you're going to see Korea, then you're going to see the MLB, and then the bigger money is going to start coming in from those reaches. And it's going to really help everything that you're trying to do from all aspects of the game.
Yep. Sir, Chellu sir, your points on opportunities for in the sport like baseball in India.
See, if you look at it in its absolute sense, it's immense. And we have a nation which is starved for entertainment. At the end of the day, baseball is entertainment. You have to be passionate about it. Your involvement becomes great. Team levels or franchise level, whatever you have. It is a phenomenal opportunity. At the same time, it has been an uphill climb. You know, only recently we managed to include it in the national games. Schools, it has been introduced. In the universities, are only now getting introduced as a game. So, on my own part, we have been, as Carlos has rightly pointed out, we have been concentrating on building up the youth. And my basic focus was on Little League and the juniors, because to me, they were the people who were going to take the legacy forward. The prime thing would be venue. If you want to popularize a game or a sport, I have to have a venue. Today, we do get venues, but they're not really baseball grounds. So that's been a tough call. We are managing that somehow or other.
No, I think, sir, sorry to disturb you, but I think
Yeah.
there are many school programs and the college programs with which
Yeah.
I think we can actually create some kind of an
Yes, yes.
opportunity for many organizers.
Yes.
And yeah.
That's why I've been saying that we have managed to make a breakthrough into the school system, into the
Absolutely,
university
sir.
system. We've even managed, even the National Sports Institute has now taken up baseball as one of the
Absolutely, sir.
disciplines. It was not there earlier.
Yes,
It's
sir.
only now discipline for coaches, etc.
Yeah.
And as both my colleagues have rightly pointed out, unless you are passionate about sports per se and baseball in particular,
Yeah.
we're not going to make a breakthrough. We have to be.
Yes.
And there are people who will invest in giving you a fill-up start. But
Yes,
in the end, thereafter, unless you deliver, they are not going to come back to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely. Tom, on the tech side, what kind of an opportunities are there in baseball, especially?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's immense, and it just doesn't go for the 30 major league clubs or the minor league teams under them, but it goes for the league office as well. I think Major League Baseball just had their first game last season in Europe between the New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox in London. So they obviously haven't expanded too far outside of the North American region, and so as they do that. And as they start moving towards, well, they've expanded in Asia, of course, but not the Middle East and not really Europe until this past year. But I think, like I said, Major League front offices and Major League Baseball itself at the league office wants a diverse group of people to help grow the game as they, basketball is very diverse and very international. And I think, baseball would want to be there too. American football is just so powerful here in the States. It's obviously not as popular around the world in comparison to baseball or basketball, but they have such a unique hold on the American market and the American fan base that they don't really need that right now. But they still go to England every year and have multiple games and do pretty well from what I know in attendance and ratings. But on the tech side, I do know that before I go into that, like on the player side, like if, 20 years from now, if India can get one or two players to have a Major League Baseball career, that's how you really start the fan base, right? You have somebody you can actually follow playing Major League Baseball. And there's a small little country called Curacao, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, that, I believe and Carlos might know this better than I do, but like Andrew Jones, who was an outfielder for the Braves, came from that country, I believe, and that really skyrocketed their interest. And that's a small little country. So now if you do that for a country like India, which you guys have mentioned, with the population, it takes one or two players that, a 5 to 10-year-old can follow and say, I want to play that sport because XYZ player was born in India and now is playing in the state. So it takes one or two, and then it can really grow in popularity. On the tech side, I've said this before. I just think I think if I was born in India and I was into baseball and I wanted to work in a Major League Baseball front office or the league office, I think you have a unique advantage because there's not many people applying for jobs from India to Major League Baseball teams to the league office. And I do think it sets you apart. And in the hiring changes in the past 20, 30 years in baseball and just in business in general, I think it puts you at a very unique advantage in comparison to others.
Yes. Thanks, Tom. Okay, last question. After this, I'll go for a QA because I'm already getting the questions here. Okay, my last question is, how do you see, Chellu sir, I'll start with you. So how do you see baseball in India in next 5 years? Chellu sir?
How do I see is one part. What would I like to see?
Yeah.
What would I like to see is that we develop a lot more club baseball in India.
Wonderful, sir. Okay.
See, having state associations and state teams, that's one part. the club is where the passion gets generated. It
Absolutely.
translates into states. So we start having club franchises within India. We've been talking about this amongst ourselves that we want to launch a league, a club league in India, which would be the forebearer to introduction of a fully professional league.
Absolutely.
And
Sir.
me and some of my colleagues, we have been in discussions, been trying to work out the structure of how to do it and what all it would involve. So that is the way I see the way forward is not, while we encourage the sport at the school and the university level, but then beyond that, we need an outlet where people get together to play, to get together to meet up with each other, to have fun with each other.
Exactly, sir.
So, as a social as well as a sports event. That's the way I see it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Carlos?
Okay, just had to unmute. Yeah, to me, I think the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit to what you want to do and how you want to take it. If you looked at some of my social media, the outreach that I have just from starting the player association, the things that we've created. Now, this is a market in Japan where it's a huge baseball, and we've taken the past foreign players and reintroduced them to where, we're back into video games, we're on baseball cards, we're TV shows, all kinds of different media outlets. And for me, baseball in India is only going to grow to what you guys want it to grow. How we connect, how we talk. Do you want to make this a big thing? Then we make it a big thing. But you can't hold back. You cannot hold back on it. You cannot do business as usual on something that is so organic that you can follow the models of Taiwan, Korea, Japan. You can follow these models and how baseball has grown in these countries. To me, the sky is the limit, and where you want to go with it and how you want to do with it. We've spoken before on some of the creative ideas on how to get it going. Popularize the game from the outside sources to bring it to India. You want to make India the attractive market for all of these other countries to want to invest their time and want to invest their outlets to describe what's going on in India. You want to build it up from the marketing standpoint of making it a place that, these big markets want to see what's going on. And when they see what's going on, then they can jump in and help out in all aspects of it, whether it's the technology, whether it's on field, whether it's the marketing, whether it's the equipment or something like that. Is you're at a point now where you have this opportunity to build something at a professional level that will cascade down to the youth, whether it's international. We spoke about this before about, with my contacts in Asia is getting this first team started so that during spring training next year, we can have this team go to Taiwan, play some games, go to Japan, play some games, go to Korea, play some games, and show India like, hey, this is for real. This is what we have going on right now. And then at the same time, while jumping to these different Asian countries, it's showing the countries that, look, we got something special going on here. You need to jump on board with this. And then what it does is it just takes a new model that we created and it makes it attractive to everybody in India. And that could be done it can be done, like I said, sky's the limit. It's all dependent upon what you want to create for something new for the people of India to see and jump on board and get excited about. And that's how I see where you're at right now as the opportunity to do it. Sports is such a great thing, especially with everything that's going on in the world today with all this pandemic is, sports is that outlet. It's that outlet for people that have so many things going on and when they see the sport, whether it's streaming games online first, then they can get picked up by a television, network, because it can be shown anywhere. People of India see an international team going to Japan and playing some games. they create excitement for that.
Exactly. Yes.
So I see the opportunity for you guys is endless. It's endless. You just got to bring in people that are passionate about baseball.
Yeah.
Somebody that's willing to do something that hasn't been done before to show the world that, you know what, baseball is going to be in India and it's going to be big. And you jump on board with us because it's something that's got to be exciting to people.
Sure.
And to me, that's the level you're at right now. Is
Sure.
the sky is the limit.
Sure. Thanks, Carlos. Tom, so how do you see India in next 5 years in baseball?
I think just you have to build that foundation, right? In the next 5 years, you might not have, maybe you have a team that is playing internationally, and then you start that league after that, after you have that first team that plays teams in other leagues and other nations. But I do think if you can build the foundation, if you can get some popularity going, at some point as it grows, not every player that plays for a professional team in India or plays at high level in India is going to go pro, obviously. But if you have that passion there and you have that love for the game, they're going to want to stay in the game, and that's how you keep it growing, right? Not every great college baseball player is going to get drafted. Most of them don't, but they have the passion to stay into the game, and then they pass that down to their kids or to their friends or whoever, and it's a constant domino effect that allows the passion to stay in the blood of Americans, to stay in the blood of the Japanese, the Koreans. So I mentioned earlier, you have that one pro player that can really change everything, but as long as you start getting kids to play it, I saw someone in the comments was talking about it's only practiced or at less than 10% of the schools in India.
Yes.
The next 5 years, if that can grow to almost 90%, that's progress. If you can have one professional team playing exhibition games, that's progress. That's building a foundation, and you're building that passion that hopefully will be passed down. And then in the next 5 years, from 2025 to 2030, now you start to actually see some rapid growth.
Yeah. Thanks for the inputs. Thank you, Chellu sir. Thank you, Carlos, and thank you, Tom. Okay, now let's go with a quick QA session, and I think we have one question already here by Brain. He has put a question like, what opportunities do you have for qualified baseball coaches and players trained in US to come to India and help grow the game? I think Chellu sir, you'll be the right person to answer this. So Brain is asking, what kind of an opportunities are there for the coaches and players in India?
Basically, what he's asking is coaches to be brought in from outside to impart training to our coaches.
Yes, sir.
We have been doing it in the past. We need to strengthen that. And the people who are attending those coaching programs, they have to be properly utilized. They have to be there's no use that, I attend a coaching program when I have no intention of being a coach. It's for the people who are passionate about transmitting knowledge of the game to the younger people. So, plus having the requisite ability to imbibe the learnings.
True,
you may populate a class and you could still turn out people who know nothing. So you need a proper selection of who goes to these coaches. And we have been doing it. We've been getting coaches from the Asian Federation as well as the World Federation. Not a large number, but it has happened. We need to strengthen that system, and we don't necessarily have to have them here physically all the time. Technology is a great enabler which allows you to use the web to. It's a process which we have to take forward.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have next question. So how to improve the game? I don't know the name. It says Redmi. Okay, but how to improve the game in Indian? Okay, so his question is more about. I think Carlos, you'll be the right person to answer this. So this question is more about how to improve this game from the schools, like in the schools and college level. Is the question I think is trying to ask. So what are the what kind of an programs or what kind of an activity should be done on the school level, that is mostly the grassroots level?
When it comes to the grassroots level, the school levels, you got to make it fun. You got to have people, what I call people boots on the ground. You got to have people that literally show up to these kids and get in face-to-face contact with these kids to show them the passion of how much fun the game can be. Um, you know, when I was in Japan, our team, the fighters, moved from Tokyo to Sapporo. And when we were in Tokyo, we had a good fan base, but it wasn't filling up the Tokyo Dome. And then when we moved to Sapporo, we literally were out, speaking in front of the university kids, speaking in front of the kids, having the kids come to the field, going to their schools, literally out there showing them how much fun this game can be. And when we did that, they got that one-on-one connection with the players and the coaches. And they saw the uniforms we were wearing. They saw, we really were showing them baseball with the visual. And when they saw that, they started to see how much fun it is. And when they saw how much fun it is, it translated to them now in the schoolyards, playing baseball during recess, trying to get involved with their, communities when it comes to the little league levels or a little higher levels or the high school levels. And that to me is how you build it. It has to be shown to the youth, the high school, even the college people that this game can be fun. This game can be exciting, but you have to be there. You have to show it. You have to be passionate about it. People have to see it. The kids have to see it from you to want to do it. That's what inspires. That's what builds those kids up to really understand that this game is fun. You don't want to take it from the business aspect because, sometimes here in the United States, kids think of it too much as a business and they're losing the fun and they're going to other sports. And what happens is when you take it, like I said, you have an organic country that, this game, if you make some trips to some schools and talk and show them some stuff, show them how much fun it can be, you're going to inspire a few kids at a time. And then those kids will inspire other kids and they'll inspire other kids. It happens like that in all sports. And that to me is how you have to start it out. And when you start it out that way, kids see how much fun it is, then the game is going to grow. Then you can really start to introduce other aspects of the game for them to learn as they get older. And they have to understand what fun is about the game, what the game has that can be fun. Sometimes coaches, I know in the Asian community, sometimes it's more disciplined, it's more strict. And when you have little kids out there and things are disciplined and strict, when you start to introduce it to other countries, they're not understanding the culture. So you really have to dig in and find out what the culture is, and you have to adjust. And I always believe, even at my level, I played so many professional games, for so many years, and it's still fun. It's fun to me. It's fun to watch it on TV. It's fun. So that came to me from as a kid, seeing the higher level players and seeing them look like little kids out there playing. And I said, I can do that. So when you want to touch into the youth level, you have to generate something where guys are going to come in that know the game, can introduce it at that level where it's fun. When you get to the higher levels, like you want to introduce a pro team and probably take it international, well, you can still have it fun, but at the same time, you got to be athletes because you got to be able to compete. And then and it translates down. And then, to just touch on another thing too is the marketing aspect of it. When we're in Japan and we're professionals, we market with other sports. So cricket is the biggest sport. We don't want to compete with cricket, but we want to kind of interact with the cricket players. You want to get the coaches and players of the baseball team with the cricket players and some kind of social atmosphere, or going to the field and trying to have the baseball players do the cricket motions and have fun with it. Because then what happens is everybody in India sees, oh, well, you have these baseball players and they're interacting with the cricket guys who are popular all around the country, and they're having fun doing it both ways. It opens the door for all of the possibilities for the baseball game to grow in India when they see that. And that's what happens in Asia. That's what happens here in the United States. You got Major League Baseball players hanging out with NFL football players, Major League Baseball players, actors, comedians going to the facilities and trying to do all the things and having fun with it. And when you show the youth level or even the college level in India these kinds of things, then they'll start to say, oh, you know what? That baseball player coach is hanging out with our number one top cricket player and they're having fun. And he's getting the cricket player to try to swing a baseball bat, and then he's getting him to try to hit the cricket ball and throw the cricket. And people start to engage. People start to engage, and that's how you grow it.
And also that builds the fan base in both the countries much more easier actually.
Yes.
I think that's
Yes.
right. Okay, I think Pankaj has mentioned. Okay, so Pankaj mentioned that we need to create something like 10 to 12 national clubs with grassroots level programs and everything. Yes, Pankaj, we are coming up with something, and you just follow our page, Hyderabad Baseball, and I think we are going to announce more things in the coming future. So I don't want to discuss that much at this moment, but that's your points are noted. And as mentioned, we are like Carlos mentioned, and Challu sir mentioned, and even Tom, they mentioned about the programs from the grassroots level, the school programs and the college level programs. Yes, I think these points are covered, and we are going to do that, and we are going to come up with more number of activities. So I'm just we have crossed our time, but I'm going to take one last question. So anyone interested, they can just either just unmute and ask the question, or they can just type it here. So after that, like we are off. But again, I'll just before you are prepared with your question, I just want to mention that we are going to come up with these the webinars on baseball on a monthly basis now, with different topics related to baseball. The whole idea is to develop the sport from the grassroots level, and this is only possible with each and everyone from the baseball fraternity of India to be united, to come as one, so that we can all together develop the sport from the grassroots level. And as we all spoke, there is immense talent, there is immense opportunity there, because we have a lot of young talent, and we can actually nurture them, we can actually support them, and we can develop the sport as a whole. So these are my points, my intakes from whatever discussion happened till now. Okay, we got one more question from Ravi. How do Indian young players get scouted by international scouts, international companies, or the franchisees? So Tom or Carlos, I think you'll be the. So I think Tom, I think you've been silent from very long. I think I want you to just answer this. So is there a process? Is there anything where to find this talent from India?
Well, yeah. So a couple of things. So, I mean, obviously there's no league right now for a player to have that opportunity. I mean, the old saying here in the States is like, scouts will find you. If you're talented enough, you will get an opportunity. But like one of our clients is Baseball Jobs Overseas with Bases. And what they want to do is, what they've been doing is they've been taking American players and American coaches and giving them the opportunity to go coach or play in leagues overseas. The future of that company, or part of their future, and what we're helping them here at Bases, is reversing that. So we want to be able to have they want to be able to have players internationally play in the United States. And so I think they can be really at the forefront, and they're a great company, great people running it, of helping scout players in underdeveloped baseball markets, getting opportunities in the States. Because I'm not sure how many major league front offices are going to send their scouts to India in comparison to some hotbeds of other baseball countries. But it's going to take companies, and they're a tech company, they're a platform. It's going to take companies like them that have that interest internationally to reverse it, not just give United States players and coaches the opportunity to expand and extend their careers internationally, but reverse it and give players in underdeveloped markets like India, like the rest of the Middle East, the opportunity to showcase their talents stateside. And I think companies will come like that. From right now, they really own this market, but I think if there is a market for it, which there is, more companies will come, which is good, right? It drives competition. But again, I can't praise what they're doing enough, and that is part of their future.
Absolutely.
Their business.
Yes, got it. Carlos, you want to add something to this? How are the leagues or the teams scouting for the Indian young players?
Today, this thing right here, it makes it so much easier.
Absolutely.
I have so many players that will video them working out, bullpens, hitting sessions, if they are playing games or anything, and they'll send me the videos, and then I just, I work with a major league certified agent right now and representing players to try to get them over to Asia. So it's very simple. I get a 30-second video of a player, and then I'm emailing, sending it, calling, sending it to all kinds of different teams and coaches and things like that. So today's technology to get seen, if you look at my Facebook, you'll look at my Facebook and my Instagram, I put my videos up there all the time. I'm 40, I'm 47 years old. And without this pandemic, I had 3 offers to go back to play professional baseball.
Awesome. Okay. Because
they see my videos and things like that. So for India, the reach, we're talking right now over Zoom. It's so much different today is you can take a kid working out, or a high school kid, a college kid, a professional kid, or anything, and you can video on your phone. You can edit the stuff so you don't see all the in-between stuff, and you can really make it nice, put a little music to it, and then you can send it. Today, you just go on the internet, you can find every major league team and send it to them. You can find every team in Korea, Japan, Taiwan, and you can just send them the videos. It's a constant thing now. Video, the visuals are always helpful. And today's reach through the internet with emails and things like that is so much easier today to get noticed, to get seen. When I went back to playing professional baseball at 42 years old, I was at the independent level, and I showed these kids how to do it. A 1-minute video. I got 2 kids signed with Arizona. I got the Red Sox to look at them. You know what I mean? It's so much different today. You got to be creative, and the technology allows us to reach any sport for any team.
Absolutely.
As long as you got a phone or an iPad or something like that, you can record it and send it. I constantly, even today, I look at my phone right now, I'll have players from Japan at the lower level sending me videos saying, hey, can you analyze this? Can you help me? And then I'll just watch a 2-minute video of some kid pitching that's, trying to get to the higher levels in Japan. And I'll break it down and say, hey, this is what I see. This is what I saw. And they go, oh my God, okay, that's great. And I'll start working on it to improve. So today's way for India, anybody in India, for any sport, is iPads, iPhones. Just videotape it. 30 seconds is all you need.
Absolutely. So social media is playing a very good role for all the youngsters out there to showcase their talent, and agents are definitely looking out for new talent, all the talent agents. And I'm pretty sure if anyone is, I think $1 million, like the one of the movies which has come where couple of the talent have been they played for the MLB, one of the teams of MLB. And yeah, that is one of the success story I think India can take forward. And thanks for your time. I think we thought 1 hour, but it is 1 hour like 20 minutes, and I loved it. We don't mind. We Indians don't mind continuing this session for 1 more hour, but I'm pretty sure you guys have your commitment. So because baseball is never-ending story for us, because apart from me as an individual, there are many others who has been putting their complete life into baseball to develop the baseball from grassroots level. And I have met so many from the governing bodies, from the associations, federations, and the players, coaches. So I've met so many who have been putting their life into baseball. And unfortunately, yeah, India didn't get to the level which it has to get into, but we have huge opportunity, we have good scope, we have immense talent. So we all are working together. I hope we all will work together. Thanks for your time. Okay, now I just hand it over to Venkat for a couple of minutes. So he want to add a few more points here. Yeah, over to Venkat.
A wonderful session. This is just a beginning. We would like to continue these webinar series going forward, more specific to players, coaches, and to the extent the entire ecosystem level. So here I want to thank Mr. Carlos, Tom, and Chalu for their time and sharing their views or insights regarding the baseball in India. And also I want to thank Mr. Karthik for moderating this session, and special thanks to all the participants who has given their time and participated today session. So that's it from my side.
Okay, so you everyone here, you guys can follow our page on Facebook, on Insta, on LinkedIn. It is Hyderabad Baseball. So we are going to do a lot of activities related to baseball, and we need everyone's support here. And it is a collaborative effort how we are going to develop the sport, not only in Hyderabad but across India. Thanks for your time again, and we'll catch up next month again because we're going to have another session. Thanks again. Thanks.
Venkat, Karthik, Tom, and Carlos. Bye.
Thank you.
Been pledging you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sweta ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Karthik, sir. Bye.
Thank you.
Wait for the another session.
Yes, ma'am. We are going to come up with one more session.